You think you've got your retirement figured out? And if you're an expat in Switzerland, you might be missing out on the real secret to securing your financial future. And today, I will walk you through one, how the Swiss pension system works for expats. Two, what happens if you leave Switzerland? And three, how can you maximize your Swiss pension? And hey, I'm Charlene, your investment coach in Switzerland with 10 years of banking experience. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any upcoming money tips on how to start investing in Switzerland as an expat. First of all, the Swiss pension system is made up of three pillars, right? Think of like a three-layer cake, and each layer is quite important, and together they help you save for retirement. So now let's go through each pillar. So now let's talk about pillar one, the first pillar, also known as AHV or Ahava in Deutsch, in German, or ABS in French. And pillar one is the state pension in Switzerland is mandatory for everyone who works here. So whether you are employed by the company or self-employed, you need to pay in it. And each month, a portion of your salary is automatically deducted and paid into the first pillar. And this money goes toward three things. One, your future pension. Secondly, disability insurance. If you cannot work due to illness or accident, you can also get paid. And third one is called survivor insurance for your family. So basically, if something happens to you. And you may ask me, how much do you pay? So you paid around 4.35% of your salary, and your employer matches that amount. So, for example, if you earn 6,000 per month, both you and your employer would each contribute how much? I think I did the calculation, 261 monthly to the AHV. And the good news is it's automatically deducted from your monthly salary. So you don't need to worry about, making any payments by yourself. So even if you're only in Switzerland for a few years, you still have to pay the first pillar. And here's the key part. When you retire, you will get a monthly payment pension until you die. And how much can you expect to get after your retirement? Some people may have this question. So actually, I know some retirees who receive around 2,000 Swiss francs per month from Pillar 1. And now let's just be honest, 2,000 will not make you rich, right? But it can cover really the absolute basics, like your rent, depends on where you live, groceries, and healthcare. And the longer you work in Switzerland, the more you will get. So, for example, if you work here for 30 years, you will get more than someone who only worked in Switzerland for, let's say, 10 or 20 years. And if you stop working, let's say you take a break from your career, your pillar one actually will be lower. And what you can do if you're not working, for example. And here's something a lot of people, they don't know. If you're not working for a period of time in Switzerland, you can actually still pay into Pillar 1 voluntarily. And this is actually quite common in Switzerland, especially for those, for example, there are a lot of housewives or people who take a career break. So actually, you can pay back voluntarily. Actually, like around me, I know actually some people who stop working but continue to pay contributions on their own just because they want to increase their future pension when they retire at 65, let's say. So it's something to think about if you plan to take time off from work or reduce your hours. So in summary, Pillar 1 will not make you rich, but it's a lifelong safety net. Lifelong, I mean, basically until you die, like I mentioned, and make you survive. And it covers essentials. Most of the essentials, I don't know if you can really live comfortably, with 2,000 every month in Switzerland, but they can probably make sure you don't sleep on street. And now let's talk about pillar 2, also known as your workplace pension. And before we move on to this topic, I just want you to say this. If you're an expat in Switzerland and feeling confused about how to get started with all the money things, investing, I've actually created a step-by-step investment workshop just for you. You can register for the next session and it's completely free, but I only opened it to 50 people to keep it interactive and personal. I'll put the link in the description area, so make sure to check it out and grab your spot before it fills up. So, okay, second pillar is the core part of the Swiss pension system. So in many cases, when people talk about pension in Switzerland, they mean second pillar. So how does it work? So if you work in Switzerland and earn more than 22,000, I think 22,050 per year, your employer is actually legally required to set up a second pillar account for you. And as an expat, I'm pretty sure your salary is above this, right? So both you and your employer contribute to this account, and the money is invested and grows over time, creating, I would say, a significant part of your retirement savings. And what happens when you retire? So it's not like pillar one. For pillar two, when you retire at 65, you actually have two options for assessing your pension. So you can either take a lump sum, you get all the savings, all the money at once. And the second choice in front of you is to take a monthly pension. So you receive a regular payment for the rest of your life. It's like quite similar to the first pillar, right? And you may ask, oh, so at the end of the day, what's the difference between pillar one and pillar two? So while pillar one or the first pillar, it covers the basics. Well, pillar two is basically designed to maintain your current lifestyle after you stop working. And for expats in Switzerland, here's something really important to know. So before you start working in a new company, you might be given 2 to 3 different pillar 2 options, right? So for option 1, for example, you contribute 10% and your employer matches it with 10%. And option 2, you contribute 15% and your employer contribute, like say 20%. Or match or even above beyond. So the employer contributions can make a huge difference over time. So here's why it matters. So there's a legal minimum that companies need to pay, like must pay into your second pillar. But some companies pay more than that as employee benefits. So when negotiating your salary in Switzerland, many expats forget to ask about the company's pension contributions. So think about this way. So at the end of the day, it's your money, right? It can either go to your bank's account as cash every month as salary, or it goes into your pension account as retirement money. So at the end of the day, it's your money. So if your employer offers a higher pension contributions, it can make big difference in your retirement. So hey friends, before we move on, I just want you to say if so far you found this video helpful, all I ask is a like and subscribe so that you don't miss any upcoming videos like this. And now let's talk about third pillar, also known as your private pension. And if pillar 1 and pillar 2 are must-haves, pillar 3 is actually optional, but I would say highly recommended, okay? So this is your personal savings and investment plan for retirement. You can actually open a pillar 3A account with a bank or an insurance company in Switzerland. And you may ask me, okay, Charlene, you said highly recommended. Why? One, because pillar 1 and pillar 2 are usually not good enough, not enough to maintain your current lifestyle when you retire. Think about it. Pillar 1 basically they covers the basics and pillar 2 covers your living expenses. But if you want to, for example, travel, enjoy hobbies, or have some extra financial security, you need more money, right? So that's where pillar 3 comes in. And one of the biggest advantages of pillar 3A is tax benefits. And if you are employed, for example, you can deduct up to, I think the latest figure is 7,056 per year from your taxable income. So this means you pay less tax each year while saving for retirement. Why not? It's like double gains, right? And if you are self-employed, you can actually deduct even more, up to 20% of your income. So it depends, with a maximum, let's say, I think the latest figure is at 35 to 180 per year. And one thing you must know is that with Pillar 1 and Pillar 2, you don't control how your money is invested, because the pension actually, they invest on behalf of you, and they usually invest in those low risk, low return fund. I mean, low risk, low return, high risk, high return, right? And these funds are safe, but they typically give you very, very low returns, and often around 1 or 2% per year. They don't grow too much. But with Pillar 3, you actually decide where to invest your money. And for example, me myself, I personally choose to invest my Pillar 3 in higher risk funds, like 100% in global equities. And why? Because I want to aim for higher returns over the long term. Like in short term, I cannot guarantee, for example, the market will go up and go down. But for longer term, until I'm like 65, it's like 20, 30 years ahead of me. I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty confident that the market will go up, like will gain like 5, 6% annually instead. And some people, they may ask, how can you withdraw Pillar 3, for example? Normally, you cannot withdraw it until retirement, but there are a few exceptions. For example, if you buy a house or apartment in Switzerland, if you start your own business, if you permanently leave Switzerland. We'll talk a bit more on the second part of the video about, how you should deal with different pensions when you leave Switzerland. To me, Pillar 3 is really a no-brainer if you want to maximize your retirement saving and reduce tax. And it's also, I would say, a great way to invest and grow your wealth over time. And if you haven't opened a Pillar 3 account yet, I highly recommend you to start today. It's really one of the easiest way to secure your financial future in Switzerland, and you can save tax. Okay, what happens if you leave Switzerland? So this actually really a huge question for expats. So what happens to your pension if you leave Switzerland? So am I donating the money, for example, to the Swiss system if one day I leave the country? Okay, for Pillar 1, if you move to EU or EFTA country, your Pillar 1 contributions actually stay in Switzerland. So it means you will receive a Swiss pension when you retire, even if you no longer live here. Switzerland has agreements with many European countries to make sure you don't lose your contributions. And when you retire, you will get monthly payments based on how much you paid in and for how long. However, if you move to a country, a non-EU country, for example, move back to Singapore, to Hong Kong, things change. You can apply to get your Pillar 1 contributions back as a lump sum payout. That means you will get your money in one go instead of waiting until retirement. So, but keep in mind, if you take this lump sum, you will lose the right to receive a Swiss pension later. But I mean, you cannot get everything, right? Okay, now let's talk about Pillar 2. Pillar 2 is the pension you build together with your employer. If you move to a EU or EFTA country, you're still part of the pension system in that country, right? For example, in Deutschland, in Germany, and you can only withdraw the extra portion of your Pillar 2. What does it mean? The extra portion is called the over mandatory part. It's anything above the minimum legal requirements. There is the minimum legal requirements, and then for you can pay on top of it. Your employer can pay more on top of it, but you can only get the extra portion on top of the minimum legal requirement amount. Well, the mandatory part of your Pillar 2 must stay in Switzerland, so you will not lose it. It's your money. It will just stay locked until you retire. But if you move to a non-EU country, you can actually withdraw the entire amount. It's just like the Pillar 1, right? And this includes both of the mandatory and the non-mandatory part. And Pillar 3 is your private savings and investment account. So actually it's so much more flexible compared with Pillar 1 and Pillar 2. If you leave Switzerland, you actually have two options. You can either keep the account in Switzerland and let your savings and investment grow, or you can withdraw the money when you leave. It's quite similar to the previous two, right? Actually, many expats that I know, they choose to withdraw their Pillar 3 savings or investments when they leave because it can actually cover some of their relocation fees. But there is something that you need to remember. However, something that you need to know is there is a tax on withdrawals. So, and the tax rate depends on which canton your account is in. So I would say, if I were you, if I don't need the money right away, I will just keep it in the account and let it grow. Some people prefer this because Pillar 3 accounts often offer tax benefits and higher returns investment options than the Pillar 1 and 2, as I mentioned earlier. So in summary, I would say at the end of the day, no matter Pillar 1 or 2 or 3, it is your money. And it will never be the case that you're donating the money to the country, for example, and the money is gone. Now I'm going to share with you some quick tips on how to maximize your Swiss pension. The first thing is it is very important to check your Pillar 1 payments. If you miss any contributions, for example, like I mentioned earlier, so if you miss any previous contributions, for example, if you're new here, if you took time off your work, or if you had some gaps in employment before, you can actually fill in those gaps to avoid reducing your future pension. And the second tip is your Pillar 2 pension is linked to your employer. So both you and your employer contribute money to it. So here's the thing. Some employer pay more than the minimum requirements amount, like I mentioned before. For example, some good companies actually they're not only matching your contributions to your second pillar, but also, going beyond and pay you extra as bonus or as benefits. So it can make a huge difference eventually in your second pillar, in your retirement account. And it is always worth asking your employer what their pension policy is. If they offer more, take advantage of it. So it is essentially free money for your retirement. And the third thing is, if you haven't already, you should consider opening a Pillar 3A account. And this is a private investment plan with big tax advantages. And the money you put into your Pillar 3 reduce your taxable income, basically, meaning you pay less tax every year. But there is a better part. You can invest your Pillar 3 account in funds or ETFs, so your money isn't just sitting there like in a bank's account, right? It like make the money work harder for you. For me, like I mentioned, 100% equity, global equities. So if finance and investments are still feeling so overwhelming for you, don't worry. I'm here to help you. So I've just created a step-by-step investment workshop specifically for expats in Switzerland. You can register for the upcoming session. It's completely free, but spots are limited. I've packed my 10 years banking experience into this 1-hour live training to help you get started in investment in Switzerland. Sign up now. I will see you there.